All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Welcome to the NHK, Episode 1.
So,
all right, we're starting a new show to replace Hinamatsuri.
We, all I know about this show is that it apparently deals with, like, the whole idea of being a NEET.
Yep.
And that's it.
Some shut-in main character.
Yeah.
Life.
And is the
Yeah.
NHK, is that like I feel like that's a TV station or something, but
it's a broadcasting thingamajig.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big company or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. So maybe it's like a NEET finally getting a job or something?
Probably, yeah. I really want to see like some cool, like emotional character drama in this, and I really feel like this is going to be that. Although I was telling Jacob before this started, I feel like this is going to be more serious GTO in terms of vibe.
Sure.
Like there's going to be comedy, obviously,
right? But
more like that serious side of GTO that we really liked, you know. Stuff that dealt with the individual students that were needing, like,
right,
help
exactly,
and
yeah,
like
and that could be where it gets at the whole NEET aspect, since the whole idea of being a NEET is usually either just dismissed as you're a NEET, or it's treated as a joke.
Sure.
So maybe this could be some serious delving into that, which would be interesting to see.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So without further ado, let's get into this. Okay.
Now, is this the actual OP for the show?
I think
or
so.
Is this okay?
Yeah. This feels
I was gonna
very
say
OP,
it could be just like,
we'll see.
An actual TV screen. Is this the residence of our main NEET?
Yep. The boxes and stuff.
I wonder what that tissue is for.
I see. All the people out there living their lives and stuff feel so strange and so, like, threatening and,
Okay, yeah.
Whoa.
Okay.
Oh my god, whoa. Drugs are involved.
Is this gonna, like, actually end up getting pretty dark?
I mean...
like, if they wanted to explore, like depression and suicide and things like... Okay, yeah.
Whoa! What?
Okay. He's at a job interview. Oh.
Conspiracy.
We trained at the Stormtrooper Sharpshooting Academy.
Yes. This feels like some kind of dream. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is amazing.
This is the exciting life that he wishes that he had, but he's actually a NEET kind of a thing.
Right, exactly.
But maybe it's also this unrealistic expectation for life that is what causes him to be a NEET.
Sure.
As opposed to just joining the workforce like everyone else.
Right. A character that he will actually meet soon. Yes, that's right. Go punch your social anxiety in the face.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that will work.
Yeah! Okay, so who is that?
Maybe they will explore suicide a little bit?
Yeah. Wait, this song.
This sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Every single day? Not like once a week or something?
Oh. But this is the thing, he's alone with his thoughts. He can't get away from them.
Yeah.
But can you make it outside though? Yeah.
But he's so antisocial, he can't even tell the person to, use headphones or turn it down or...
Yeah. He's like, step by step.
Watch, she'll actually rack up the courage to do it, and it turns out that it's a cute girl.
Oh.
So extreme social anxiety. Well, and this might not be what people actually said.
Right.
Or at least not all of it. A lot of it could be in his head.
Oh, there's that little thing again.
Yeah, the grenade.
Whoa. Whoa.
Okay.
How do you live? How do you eat? I mean, delivery services can be pretty good, but like... Are those all journals?
I don't know.
They were notebooks
the way that he keeps himself occupied.
No, but look, they are all uniform and they have that little slot there, so I think they're some kind of notebook.
Could be. Maybe he has some passion, for writing or drawing or something like that. He wants to be a manga artist or something.
Sure. Oh. The outside world is scary, so it must be conspiring against me.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Oh. The background sounds are crazy.
Yeah.
Oh. Whoa.
It's all a brainwashing death trap.
Yeah. I really feel bad for the guy, though. Like,
oh, yeah.
He doesn't have any outside stimuli that breaks the,
right.
The conspiracy,
It just becomes this crazy echo chamber.
Oh. Yeah, who would do such a thing? Ah! Yes!
NHK?
He's beginning to believe. Indeed. Only 22? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Now he sees himself as like a Zen master.
Yeah.
Like, I alone understand the secret techniques. Yes.
No.
Oh my god. Holy crap, someone's at the door. Oh no. But if they do that, then the NHK won't be able to get to you.
Ah. Cute girl. Yep.
Huh?
これが今月の特集ニートってご存知？もいかず家で引きこもっている人のことな。俺が引きこもってること。
She's staring right into my eyes.
Like angry Avon.
Yes, indeed. She's a part of the conspiracy. Oh.
俺にだってわかんねえのに。あんたらにわかるわけねえよ。
Slams the door. Yep.
Yep.
Oh. Because all the other people would be like, oh, gross,
Right.
And she looked at him, didn't look away,
She
smiled.
Yeah.
Manga cafe.
Hey, there you go.
Lose the hat though, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Practicing that. Oh man.
Oh.
And I love that they're focusing on the wrapping around the scar on his hand.
Yeah.
あにゃすいませんこちらですバイ
Huh? Huh?
こちらで倍何
バイクとか好き俺は好きだな
Oh.
風になれるよねあのエンジン
Oh
の
no.
たまらないなねえじゃあね
Oh, poor guy.
Oh, yeah.
でやれ
Oh. Oh my god. Come on. You can do it.
この方法では死ねないことを俺は知っている神に使える身でバイトなんかしていいのかよいやたとえ神に使える身であっても
What does he see her as a nun or something?
生身の人間
Or maybe that was like a
そう
church group or something that was going around doing that.
こんなことしちゃ
Oh, wow. 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 Wow.
冷静に考えてみれば今時天気の集金人がわざわざ自宅にまで取り立てに来ることはない
Yep.
Awesome.
わざわざ届けてくれたのか
佐藤達弘殿
Nice.
あなたは私のプロジェクトに大抜擢されました
Oh.
ですので今夜9時三田4丁目公園に来てください
のに引っかかる奴がいるとも思えないだがそれが
This is how they get you.
若い女の子を使って若い男を集める上等手段なのだ彼女は不死だらな女なのだ
Wow.
そんな女に俺が引っかかるとでも
No, no, no.
バカしい
I mean, guy, just alone, nothing to do with life. That's probably what you'd end up doing, like
Probably.
multiple times a day.
Well, and not just that, but all of this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
俺は今夜もあの公園でくつろごうと思っていたのだ
Yes, he does.
Schedule
俺
you.
は
Got
最初
4
から
minutes
あ
still.
の公園に行く予定だったんだ
Did he go?
I think he did. Maybe? Or is he asleep? No. All right.
All right, he went. Good job.
どうして昼間は逃げたのお店今人足りないから即決だったのにやっぱり外に出て働くのが怖くなった引き
Mm.
こもりだから私引きこもりの脱出方法知ってるから
Ah.
それに佐藤君のことだってずっと前から知ってるよ
Okay. Welcome to the project. Here we go. Oh, what is this intense piano you do?
Yeah. My. Oh, my.
What? What?
You were doing so good. And like that, the buzz is gone.
This is hilarious, though.
It is. Wait, what's that written on the boobs? Oh, Kikomori.
Yeah. Baby human. Oh my god. Well,
Okay.
Well,
All
all
right.
right. This show is crazy. I love it.
I feel like I feel like the majority of the comedy in this episode was just from the ED. I mean, there was
sure.
Like, there was definitely comedy in the actual episode, but it was a very particular type of comedy.
Yes.
But that ED,
yes,
that
ED was just.
It was so like sophisticated, feeling like in the beginning with that crazy piano and everything. It's like, ooh, yeah.
Oh my god, that was so good. Okay, so this show has a very dark brand of comedy.
Yes.
It's dealing with some very heavy subject matter.
Yep.
So therefore the comedy from it shouldn't shy away from the dark subject matter in order to like create some kind of tonal dissonance between the two things, so that it's like, you can feel comfortable laughing. In fact, and if anything, laughing at a lot of the stuff in this is pretty uncomfortable at certain points, because it's like,
but the idea that in his situation that would be the only way you would cope with it is by laughing, by coming up with conspiracy theories and things like that, because you're such in a downward spiral rut of I don't know, depression, self-hatred, anxiety, all of that stuff, that fear,
it's all fear-based stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That
that you hallucinate the fridge could.
Right.
Refrigerator senpai. I had no choice, Tomoko. You have no idea how far up this
Lamp
goes.
senpai. Fuck.
And no, but really, like, this is exactly what I think someone who lived alone for 4 years would turn into.
Right. Well, and not just lived alone for 4 years, but I think the important part is that he mentioned that he hasn't spoken to anyone in almost a year.
Oh my god, that's right.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Because see, living alone for 4 years, you figure out how to deal with it, right?
You call people on the phone.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Talk to people
you go to random
group chats.
or figure out some kind of hobby that'll get you out and dealing with people.
No, but he said he hasn't left the house in 4 years.
Right. Yeah.
So he would have like online video games.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
In the internet day and age, you could do that,
right?
But the main thing is not talking to people, because I suppose if you got it to the point where you were able to just like have like be plugged into the wire, and
sure,
and you were connected with a bunch of people online, then that could substitute, I suppose. A little bit, mostly.
Did you ever have a point in your life though, Jacob, where you basically only spoke to like 2 or 3 people for like a long period of time?
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember a point when I first played World of Warcraft, I didn't really leave the house for like 4 or 5 months, and then therefore I only spoke with family members for that amount of time. But the thing was that I always had a crazy big family, stuff, so that did become an issue and stuff. But I remember having this weird thing of when I went out and interacted with people outside of that, it was like, what was that?
One of the things that I've had to be a lot more intentional about, because you have Frisbee, right? But since I don't have I need to be very intentional about making sure that I have things like that, like improv classes and and things and whatnot, because otherwise it's like all the work stuff is just at home, like what and basically actually getting out and talking to people and and things like that is something that I can fall into fairly easily. So
we're a weird, unique form of NEET then.
Right. Yeah, because we work, but we work from home. So there's that also weird distinction of that. But so I can sympathize a fair amount with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
Okay, so Sato has been like this because he went out at one point, probably at the end of his high school life or what have you, probably a little bit afterwards. But
he was outside, and
he was interacting with his teacher and his homeroom teacher, and then the teacher like called him out on.
Well, I feel like it was a bunch of little things.
A bunch of
little things that added up, where he was outside with people and he didn't
well, he got beat up by the bullies.
He got beat up by the bullies, in front of the girl that he was trying to impress, and given that he was helping someone that was, a few years his junior, the bullies may have also, right, because I think it was like a different school, like it was like middle school and high school or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that the kids were also from a different, like school level.
Sure.
So then there would be potentially a lot of humiliation from that, because it's like, oh, they're younger than me, and they beat me up in front of this girl that I was trying to impress and things like that when I was trying to act cool, and all these other things that add up to basically just make him be like, I don't think I can deal with people, right?
Right.
And then he just disappears. And the thing is that everyone has those moments where they get really low, right? Yeah. And that's why you need people, because if you're just in your own head, then there's no way to pull yourself out of it, because you're always looking at it from the perspective of being inside the issue, whatever it is, right? Yep. When you're depressed or something, right?
Yep.
But whereas when you have someone else that you're talking to, they have that outside perspective, and then they can help you look at your situation differently. Yep. And then suddenly you're outside of it. You can do just fine. Mm-hmm. But if you aren't in that situation, if you cut yourself off from people, then it can just become this downward spiral.
Yeah. And this is part of the thing that's really tricky here, is that it being in this situation, you don't know necessarily how to solve the problem, but you know that there is a problem. So
right,
that there's no. This is the thing. Thing. Hold on. I'm not talking about that. That out there is the solution. I'm talking about the direct mechanics of how to do it.
Okay.
So an example is that he knows that he can solve the problem by basically going out there and getting a part-time job mm-hmm. and doing those little things. Like he knows that works, but he doesn't know the mechanics of how to do that, of how to go out and just do that. He has to tell himself and remind himself, because in the moment he seizes up, forgets, and rambles about motorcycles. Well, I have had encounters more recently, and I think that this is a very interesting thing that we're bringing this up now, with a lot of people in my life who have their one thing that they're passionate about. So I end up bumping into them in that thing that they're passionate about.
Sure.
And they don't really talk there. But when I've interacted with them and stuff, there are these moments where they'll just kind of go, and then they just word vomit. And I'm like, oh, wait. Actually, I think this is an example of that. This is an example of a person that doesn't get a lot of human connection. Mm-hmm. So then when human connection happens, they freak out and go into the mechanics of...
Because he knows what he needs to do, but the thing is, his self-confidence, ever since Prince Humperdinck fired him, his confidence has been shattered, right? So he doesn't know that he knows what he needs to do. He doesn't know, he's not secure enough to basically stick to what he knows is the right thing to do.
Right.
And then he freaks out, and then it all goes badly, right?
Right, and I think that's where it comes down into play, is that, of course, he knows how to solve it, but the thing is that he needs to know every single step in order to actually be able to solve it. That's what he tells himself every single time he's doing this stuff, he does that, but he doesn't need that. He just needs to go out there. Yep. And in some ways you could actually just be quiet, and you could get through a lot of things by just saying yes or no.
Less is more. The idea that other people, like when he was imagining all the people looking at him and saying all these things, now it's possible that there were people that were actually saying that, right?
Probably, yeah.
And there have definitely been people in his life previously that gave him grounds to believe that was happening, right?
Sure.
But the idea that most people don't care about you enough in order to in order to do that kind of stuff. Like, the only time they usually care about you enough in order to do that is if they're trying to figure out their own social standing, and then they basically you as the ugly duckling to peck, to basically show where they are in the pecking order, that they're above you, not, kind of a thing.
See, I disagree that there's no grounds for people to be doing this kind of stuff, and I'm not saying that you're saying that. I'm saying that people do that kind of stuff for reasons other than social pecking order. So, the idea of that people just kind of go and make rude comments as people walk by, I think that kind of a thing is more of a thing that's it's maybe less detailed in real life, it's less specific, but it is very much a stimuli thing, where if you look out there and you're you're in his situation or what have you.
Sure. Yeah, you see the person that,
he's
think
only seeing those maybe.
Well, right. And because that's what he's
thing.
tuned to see.
Yes.
And also because, there's a very real possibility there's some stuff like that. Because, like, if you see someone that's sketchy, like, and you're out late at night, you're going to, maybe, I don't know, hold, like, keep your hands in your pockets or something like that, or not, do whatever if you think, like, oh, I don't want them to, like, mug me or something, right? But in this situation, there's this idea that basically that he is disgusting, right? And that's something that he believes about himself and that he believes that other people believe about him, right? Which is why having the Misaki girl just, say nothing, just look at him and smile, right, was this amazing thing. Now, was she intending to do something like that, given that she has this project? Maybe, right? Yeah. But even if she wasn't, that would have been still, the most amazing thing in the world, and she might not have even realized that she was doing it. So, yeah.
Also, we don't have as much of a culture of shame as Japan does, so
that is very true.
I think that drawing a connection of where, like, oh, people don't care much about. Nah, I think that's a little bit of a culture thing. I think that there's a very real possibility that people are a little bit more quick to give out their judgmental kind of viewpoints.
And let's just say that
snide remarks.
Going for a job interview. Now, granted, it was a job that he he just showed up and was able to be hired for.
Right.
But yeah, like the way he dressed, he could have done it a bit differently to basically dodge those bullets that probably are out there of the people being like, oh yeah, that person's worthless, kind of a thing. But if it's something that's latched onto his identity like it has, then
an example of this would be when you project out what people are thinking as what people are saying. Now, this is a very, very real problem, like with a lot of people I've interacted with places I used to be in life, where when you look at people's body language, you then extrapolate out what they're thinking, which is wrong a majority of the time, a huge majority of the time. Even if you're on the right angle of things, they're usually not thinking that. They're thinking something else. Now, what that something else is, it doesn't matter. They're thinking it.
Yep.
The thoughts aren't well, I don't know. But yeah, thinking something isn't a crime, basically, So
right.
So So he's probably getting these vibes from people as he walks down the street muttering to himself, like he was in this this episode here. And I think people in general would look at that and go, oh, and maybe they move away. Maybe they do those little things you're mentioning there.
Yeah.
But one of the ways that human beings in groups draw a little bit of maybe a social standing thing like you're talking about there, because most of the people that made comments were people that were in couple pairings, like they were in groups of two. So they were mentioning it not to the person, they were mentioning it to the person next to them.
Yep.
Thinking maybe, that person won't hear me, or like I'm better than that person, which is a very that is a very real thing.
And sometimes people even do that, like it's way more than when there's other people to hear, but sometimes people even do that when there's no one around to hear, to sort of like reassure themselves, like, and the thing is that while that is something that definitely happens, it's that whole issue of you shouldn't care about what these people think, because they're just they're just other people. Who cares what they think, right? But with where he's at,
that's everything.
Yep.
Everything out there is something out to get him. So if anything, him being scared of it means he's hypersensitive, aware to all these things coming in from his environment.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that this is a brilliant little story of sharing what it's like to be someone who ends up not just alone, but someone who ends up building paranoia off of their own paranoia, and how it's almost impossible to break that without some kind of outside help from another person.
Because he's inside his own head.
Yep.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he's going to be the one that has to, I would say, stick with it. Otherwise, other people
Right.
will burn out on trying to help you.
Right.
Which is a sucky thing, but it's the reality of no one being perfect and everyone having limits. So
Right.
I really hope that this story has a happy ending. I'm sure it will.
Mm-hmm.
But he does need to do his part in order to make this all work out. Which, hey, at least he's opening the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm really hoping is that he's not the only one with issues.
Oh,
because one of the things
people?
one of the things that you could do in a story like this, and stories do this sometimes, where it's the one person with all the problems, and then the other person, right? That's usually the romantic interest, at least at some point, comes along and basically rescues them, right? And the thing is that is a real thing that happens for people, but that's usually because of the perceptions of the person that is being rescued, right? And then the person takes on this sort of idyllic form, right? Where it's like,
he already did that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then masturbated to her.
or almost did.
No, he did.
Oh wait,
he did.
Yeah. Well, anyways, but so I hope that since Misaki seems to be the other main character, and they'll probably introduce other characters as well, because there was another girl in the opening and things like that. I hope that she has her own problems and insecurities and things like that, so that it's not just something of the perfect person that descends to race him out of his issue kind of thing.
That's not gonna happen.
I don't think so either.
There's no way in hell that's gonna happen.
No, with the level of awareness with the issues that Sato is facing, that they presented this episode, there's no way that's happening. But that is what I'm really excited for, because it's not just about him dealing with his own issues, because I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
It's when you get characters that help each other with their own issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you get the really good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, if anything, no. The thing that I think that this show's main thing it's bringing up here is how much people's perceptions skew reality when they're living in fear.
Right.
And specifically, when you, open up the door, so to speak, to something else out there, it's a little scary.
Oh, yeah.
It is a little scary. And regardless of whether or not you're a NEET or you're someone who's got social anxiety or what have you, there's no levels to this. Fear dictates a lot about how we perceive the world. So if you're going to, in some ways give up in those specific areas where fear has kind of taken its kind of hold over the way you see certain things, it'll lead to all kinds of really self-destructive behavior.
Yep.
And that's not good. Like, it's not just that it's not good, it's that it's like it spreads. That's the conspiracy, maybe, if anything, is that
right.
I don't know.
And from his little echo chamber, it definitely is a conspiracy in that sense.
Sure.
The whole thing of him opening the door makes me think of like the line from Princess Bride. It's like, life is pain, highness. Anyone who says otherwise is selling something.
Sure.
Right? And that the thing is that the reason why this story is something that's relatable, I feel like, even if you're not a NEET. Now, if you're like when you have those tendencies and and things like that, and you dealt with social anxiety and whatnot, then it gets a lot more relatable. But the idea that basically life is pain, but if you're living the kind of life that will keep you from feeling any pain, then you're not really living, because you're not taking risks, you're not experiencing what life has to offer and whatnot. And so if you've been in a situation where you've kept yourself cloistered off in any kind of area of life, not necessarily literally, right, so that you don't feel pain, then opening the door for potentially better things also opens the door to pain, and that's very scary.
It's very scary, and it's very important that we do that a lot.
Yeah.
Because
because we're water, we sink to the lowest point, and it is very easy to go into those situations, even if it's not as easily recognizable as locking yourself in your apartment for 4 years, right? So yeah,
I love the little otaku jokes of talking about how NHK has breeded basically this mass group of NEETs, via the otaku,
with all these wonderful anime and stuff,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all a conspiracy, and I like that his own paranoia, his own problems have led him to this place. But I think it's a very real thing to bring up that one of the things that you see in his environment when you look at his room are a couple vices, I would say.
Sure.
One, he smokes, which is probably just a way to get him to cool down. You know, when he gets a little bit paranoid and he relaxes and stuff. But it's addictive. It's unhealthy.
Yep.
In some ways, while this is something that can be very healthy in moderation, I'm getting the idea that this is the kind of guy who masturbates like 3 to 5 times a day. I'm not even joking. Like,
the fact
that him just seeing a girl and thinking, she's pure, and then like step 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's just bam, bam, bam.
Well, for me, it was the fact that so if he's got his computer, right, living in an apartment for 4 years, right, that means like the only way you can really do that is with a computer, right? Like so he's at his computer. I'm like, okay, this is probably where he spends 80% of his time, right?
Or the TV.
Yeah.
We saw him watching a sports game.
Sure.
Yeah.
And since this came out in 2006 and then the manga was 2003, there's a possibility that, that the computer isn't quite as all-encompassing as it is nowadays, right?
Sure.
But the fact that, like I would expect him to have more, like, food and stuff near his computer, right?
Right.
And he probably would just
maybe
get
he's
that
just
set
a
up or whatever.
little bit more clean because he hasn't been doing this that long.
But he's, 4 years is a long time, right?
But I mean, like...
But he's got a bunch of, that's true. This could go on for way longer. But he's got a bunch of boxes stacked up, and he's got tissues right there.
Oh, we know. Yeah, we know why the tissues are right there.
The idea that above food and basically something to sustain him, so that he can keep doing this, he has something else that is a higher level of sustenance priority.
Oh yeah. Yep. And the final thing I noticed, and I still think I'm going to go hard in on this, is the notebooks. So, if he's paranoid, he's got his own fears and what have you, believes everything out there is a conspiracy. One of the things that I think he would need in a semi-healthy kind of way is some kind of journaling process.
Some way to get outside of his head.
But my worry is that it's actually the opposite, is that it's turned into this thing where he scribbles out his own madness, basically, and it creates a feedback loop where it reinforces his own ways of thinking.
Sure.
And if anything, the reason why they're all out there and not put away is because he maybe doesn't like to go back and revisit those. Like he subconsciously knows, like.
Well, right, and it's a great like I feel like this is like a very similar thing to like Gridman with how like showing like Rika's room,
Sure.
And in this situation they show his room, it's a mess, and if those are journals, then it's basically showing how he is literally trapped in here with his thoughts, and his thoughts are strewn around. He doesn't he doesn't organize them. They are all out there.
Exactly.
If you have that many journals, there's going to be some with good thoughts in there's going to be some with bad thoughts. They're all out there. It's a mess. He doesn't It's all at the same time.
He's not spending energy to compartmentalize them and organize them.
Right. Hence
another
why
representation of
it makes sense that he would start hallucinating about the refrigerator and things like that, because what else is he going to do? Like
breathing that same air over.
There was, I don't know if this is really related, but there was an experiment where basically, and I think this might have been a fictional thing, where they tried to have people stay up as long as people could, and see what would happen, and it didn't go well. Like the people started going crazy from staying up that late, and that's a different thing. But like I feel like it's
you're mixing up two different things, because there's the waking dream thing, lucid dreaming, where you can basically force yourself into a
I'm not talking about that.
But you're talking about the thing of where people just try to go as long as they could, multiple days without sleep.
Right, and
that's where things go crazy.
And I feel like this is basically the example of that, because going outside is his version of sleep, right? And because it's that moment where basically you're going to a different environment so that things can reset. So you have an anchor point, a reference point to basically measure things against, and then so that you're not just sailing off into La La Land, right?
Sure.
And he is deep in La La Land right now, but he might have just gotten a point of reference.
A ticket out.
Yeah, a ticket out. And well, even if it took him till 9 o'clock exactly, and maybe a few tissues, he took that ticket.
He took the way out.
Yeah.
Now he might have needed to sexualize her in his head a little bit in order to get the motivation to go out there.
Right.
But hey, he's out there.
Right. And this is also one of those things where it feels like a bit of a cautionary tale too. Well, I mean, definitely a cautionary tale.
It definitely is.
But the thing is that the only reason that he's actually going out there is because, one, someone knocked on his door.
True.
2, when he went outside and he sabotaged himself and then ran back inside,
Someone
the person
came back,
the person came back for him. That is not the kind of thing that usually happens in real life.
Nope.
Or at least
not
not from strangers. Maybe
Definitely
from people
not from
close to you.
strangers.
But the problem is that with something like this, because you're cutting yourself off from people, you end up having less people that you're close to, less people to do stuff like this.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they brought in the whole idea also of the government basically social program of trying to help NEETs basically reintegrate back into society.
Mm-hmm.
So in some ways the people that would be a part of this would either be idealists with kind of the I'm on a mission to save people, or the others who are like this has serious socioeconomic, ramifications for the country as a whole. So I'm doing this for the practical thing of I want to be a good citizen.
For some
basically.
greater reason, basically, that does not depend on attachment to the individual.
Yeah, there's no emotional thing behind it. It's just this is a good thing that I can do, so I'm going to do it.
And what I love that they've done here is that they basically showed how his horniness and sexualizing of Misaki both helped him with going out to the park, but it also was his Achilles tendon, because
it caused him to freak out.
It caused him to freak out, as opposed to just doing the thing that he had already run the algorithm to do. Just hey, there was
27
a notice for
times
work.
or what have
Yeah,
you.
exactly. And
Yeah.
and then of course that whole thing of him saying, "No, I can't kill myself like this."
I'll
eventually pass out. My grip will loosen, and
yeah. Which means the main reason why he's still alive right now is that he is self-aware enough that when he goes to set up a noose, for instance, he talks himself out of it on the way to doing things like that.
Right.
So he needs something quicker, which means there's it's a good thing that he doesn't have access to dangerous drugs or pills of a stupid high amount or
the idea that if
his
it was
neatness is saving his life right now.
Right. If it was simply on impulse, then he probably would have by now.
Yeah.
If not for the the logic that's in his head still, and a fear of pain.
Oh, that too. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right.
Not necessarily as much of a wholesome show, but a very hilarious show
and it
in
could
its own special way. And it
could
end up being a
very wholesome, even if the
Yes.
trip there is fraught with things.
stuff. Yeah. So, y'all, thank you so much for voting for this show. If you guys want to see the next episode's reaction to Welcome to the NHK right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us about these stories, about anime in general, about neatness, or just whatever. We should also talk about Jacob's book with him in there.
My sci-fi novel Battle Lines is still available for order on Amazon. The link is in the description below, so go check it out, leave a review, let people know what you think.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.